Evening, a pleasant welcome to ELBC Newsline, one full hour of news, views, and interviews from Liberia and other parts of the world. Today is Monday, June 24th, 2024. My name is Fabienne Kuya, presenting and these are the top stories. Vice President Jeremiah Kuhn leaves the country for Barcelona, Spain to attend the 25th edition of Africa Energy Forum. Liberian International Monetary Fund (IMF) began high-level talks in Monrovia to qualify for extended credit facility program. United States Department of State announces steady progress on awareness in its 2024 report on trafficking persons in Liberia. In Sudan, the head of United Nations Children's Agency (UNICEF) describes Sudan as one of the worst places in the world for these stories and much more, including sports, the weather report, the news in simple English and French. But first, Grace Tao and the news bulletin.
Vice President Jeremiah Cohn is expected to join other experts to discuss the prospects of renewable energy at the 25th edition of the Africa Energy Forum in Barcelona, Spain. According to a release, VP Cohn will also deliver an opening statement on advancing renewable energy projects for sustainable value chains with a focus on solar projects at the four-day event. The release says the engagement will provide the opportunity for VP Cohn to meet with leading UK energy investors and EPC contractors who are keen on providing clean energy solutions in Africa, including Liberia. Vice President Cohn's participation underscores Liberia's commitment to advancing its energy infrastructure and promoting sustainable development. He is also expected to hold discussions with the World Bank Group, African Development Bank, Infinity Power, among others, in highlighting investment opportunities aimed at improving electricity delivery capacity in Liberia. VP Cohn's participation at the AEF will focus on fostering international cooperation, attracting investment, and addressing the energy challenges and opportunities in Liberia and the African continent. A high-level delegation from the International Monetary Fund (IMF) is in Liberia on an assessment of extended credit facility new country program. The IMF assessment mission led by Dehan Kim Dike is in Liberia from June 24 to July 5 to negotiate the extended credit facility new country program to ensure microeconomic stability and inclusive development for Liberia. The mission is in the country based on an invitation from President Joseph Boakai when he visited the headquarters of the IMF in December 2023. According to Finance Ministry release, the mission will be involved in a series of structured meetings with Liberia's financial and government institutions, donor agencies, and international partners. It added that the goal is to set the policy agenda, reveal fiscal performance, and discuss structural reforms needed to support Liberia's economic stability. Meanwhile, Finance Minister Boma Kamara has assured the government's openness to discussions with the IMF delegation. Speaking at an initial meeting between members of the delegation and officials of the Finance Ministry in Monrovia Monday, Minister Kamara said government stands ready to meet prior actions to get Liberia back on track. The finance minister disclosed that Liberia has taken several steps to take prior actions as earlier discussed with the IMF. For his part, the head of the IMF assessment mission, Dahen Kim Dike, said the team was pleased to help start an economic adjustment program for the new government. Mr. Kim pledged the IMF support to the economic agenda of the Liberian government. The United States Department of State has released its 2024 Trafficking in Persons report on Liberia, with key recommendations for the country to meet the minimum standards of eliminating the crime. According to the report, government succeeded in completing the renovation of 2 victim shelters and conducting awareness campaigns. However, the report said government did not demonstrate overall increase in efforts compared with the previous reporting period, for which increased efforts are necessary to investigate, prosecute, and convict traffickers. The 2024 Trafficking in Persons report by the United States government also highlighted how officials were accused of complicity. It says the Liberian government must seek adequate penalties for convicted traffickers, which should involve significant prison terms. Meanwhile, the U.S. State Department TIP report is calling for protection services for all trafficking victims and long-term care by partnering with and allocating funding to civil society. Nimba County Superintendent Cole Mape Gono says she is pressing forward to ensure some completing development plans in the country that the county are implemented. Madam Gono said the plans will bring about transformation in the socio-economic development of the people. She said the plans take into consideration the healthcare needs of people, mainly pregnant women, education through the empowerment of youth and women, including agriculture. Mistress Gono told ELBC over the weekend in Sanakwale, Nimba County, that the plans are also focused on the county-wide road rehabilitation to create easy access for trade and commerce. She, however, disclosed that over the past weeks, her administration has been carried out citizens' engagement, which is intended to have ordinary people participate in the governing affairs of the county. The Liberia Broadcasting System Workers Union has welcomed latest pronouncement by Civil Service Agency boss Josiah Jokai to grant LBS correspondent employment status. Lipswu says the move by CSA director is indicative of his reform vision to dignify Liberian workers who are positively contributing to the government's development agenda. According to a release, Lipswu, however, encouraged the LBS management to remain engaged with the CSS boss to speed up the correspondence employment process. Lipswood believes that by now the LBS management has begun soliciting credentials and other relevant documents from the correspondents and forward them to the CSA for the process. The LBS Workers Union statement is in reaction to recent pronouncement made by the CSA director to remove all correspondents from contract list and grant them full employment status consistent with good behavior and credentials. A traditional Liberian fabric designer is calling on government to issue a mandate for the wearing of made in Liberia country clothes at public workplaces. Mr. Momo Kamara also wants Liberians to take pride in wearing country clothes as a means of promoting the fabric across the world. Mr. Kamara said farmers in Lofa County have engaged in cotton farming and weaving to ensure Liberian fabric is sold globally. Meanwhile, the traditional Liberian fabric designer is calling on the youth to also engage in training to produce country clothes. Mr. Kamara indicated that the Bolahun Junction Weaving Center is involved in training of young people to enhance productivity. Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation Managing Director Mohamed Ali is calling for joint efforts to improve the entity. Mr. Ali said for LWSC to achieve its desired goals, citizens, especially those with technical knowledge, should be willing to diligently contribute to the advancement of the corporation. The LWSC managing director spoke Monday when he welcomed more than 37 university students to the corporation for a 3-month internship. He urged the students to be focused on professionalism during their internship in serving the Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation for the betterment of the country and people. The students were drawn from the University of Liberia, William V.S. Tubman University in Harper, Maryland County, Stella Maris University, and the President's Young Professionals, among others. The Sustainable Urban and Rural Integrated Development Organization, SUREDO, with funding from the government of Japan, has commissioned modern sanitation facilities at 3 targeted academic institutions in Jokwele District, Bong County. The wash facilities with cost put at over US $86,000 were constructed at the Kekula Farm Public School, Belikpala Public School, and the St. Matthew Academy in Banga City, Bon County in central Liberia. Speaking at the ceremony at St. Matthew Academy in Banga, Japanese ambassador to Liberia, Monshin Zukui Hassanubu, expressed excitement at the bilateral relationship between Liberia and Japan. Ambassador Hassan Nobu, the bilateral cooperation between the countries is yielding significant benefits for the ordinary citizens, especially school-going children in Liberia. Speaking earlier, the executive director of Suridu, Paul Jabla, described the commissioning of the WASH facilities as historic moment for the organization and its partners while stalling the embassy of Japan for the funding. Mr. Jabla at the same time stressed on the sustainability aspect of the facilities while admonishing the administrations and students of the beneficiary institutions to ensure that the facilities are properly managed to meet its desired objective. Forest rangers of the Forestry Development Authority detachment assigned at the National Crown Park in Grangida County have turned over at least 6 single-barrel guns to the Liberian National Police. FDA Regional Detachment Head Evans Katamba said the guns were confiscated from several unauthorized hunters in the park. Our correspondent quotes Mr. Katamba as saying the park has been facing series of challenges ranging from inadequate manpower to carry out patrol in the park, among others. He is, however, appealing to government to beef up the power that will give rise to adequate protection to the park. He also noted that forest conservation is significant in protecting the wildlife in the country.
Great Tower and the news bulletin. She returns a little later with the weather report and foreign news. One of the big stories we're following. Liberian International Monetary Fund (IMF) began high-level talks in Monrovia to qualify for extended credit facility program. To this one, Vice President Jeremiah Kuhn is in Barcelona, Spain, ahead of official commencement of the 25th edition of the Africa Energy Forum. The four-day event is expected to bring together scores of senior government officials and private sector executives to proffer ways in advancing the energy sector. Fasta Talu has been reading through a release from the Vice President's office and now reports.
According to the release, VP Kuhn will deliver an opening statement on advancing renewable energy projects